This video is going to feature two things. First of all, this tenor saxophone. And number two is this silver shiny piece of loveliness which goes in top of the saxophone. In other words, the neck. Let's start with the neck. This is the Yamaha Custom G1, and as you can see quite clearly, it's silver plated, and I do like silver plated saxophone stuffs, so this already ticks a box for me because it looks lovely. Call me shallow. Well, I'll call myself shallow. I've got the gold plated version of this, G1, GP, whatever. Anyway, all them funny letters. So then I was in a music shop and they told me, I've got a whole bunch of saxophone necks, you should have a look. That's probably because they know, hello, here comes Ian, time to spend some more money. And this little silvery piece of joy was amongst that lot. I thought to myself, it's mine, you are coming home with me. So of course I ended up buying it because that's what I do. And now it's here. So that leads me on to the tenor, which is this thing here. It's a Yamaha Custom EX, or should I say the 875 EX. Now this thing came into my paws because of a friend of mine. I'm not going to say his name. Oh, I really want to say his name. I want to name him and shame him because I've had this saxophone in my hands at least 2 or 3 times in the past year because of what you call, clumsy. He's been so clumsy and silly. Idiot! Idiot, idiot, idiot! That's what you are. Bad friend for saxophone abuse. Anyway, back to the poor little fella here. And I'm not kidding, it was horrible. The whole front stack was trashed. I mean, the rod that goes through the left-hand keys was actually bent. The C, the B flat, and the B key were just a mess. They were mangled up. So that was fun trying to get this rod out. Normal procedure would be to maybe even unsolder a post. But it wasn't possible on this one because it's a ribbed construction. So that means if you unsolder one part, you've got to take the whole thing off there. And that's a pain in the ass. So I'm not going to do that. So I spent my time slowly taking this rod out bit by bit. Then I got it out, managed to straighten it up, and then I took the keywork and managed to straighten that up as well. And here we are. It now works. But that wasn't just the only issue. The F sharp at the top here was whacked out of place. I had to straighten the G key because it was actually bent up. It was just weird because that was bent down, but the G was bent up. That doesn't make sense, but anyway, maybe it's a former injury. He's probably been kicking around playing football. And another thing that happened, which he does not know about, but he will now, is that the bell was actually whacked out of joint. So I had to straighten the bell up, straighten the bell keys, and now the whole thing sounds like this. So have a listen to this. So let's have a quick look around the tenor. First of all, you'll see this lovely engraving on the bell. That looks very fancy and actually done by hand. Both sides down to the bow area. You've got the engraving of the name there, which is Custom EX right here. Now the C and E flat keys right there are slightly different to what you'd normally get on a Yamaha. Normally on Yamahas, they have this kind of Mark 6 style layout, whereas these are a little bit more, how do I describe it? Chunky, bulky keys. That's what they look like to me, but they do feel very nice. And on the subject of blocky, chunky, bulky keys, the high F sharp is exactly the same. Look at that. The left and right hand keys have a really nice feel to them. The layout, as I always say about Yamahas, I cannot fault it. For me, personally, it feels so nice. Now this little key here, your auxiliary front F key, is a bit of a throwback to your Yamaha 62 purple logo era. It's a very nice feeling key, and I like that design quite a lot. Your body to bell brace is slightly different to normal, and it has this oval look to it. It looks good, and it does the job. Now these left hand pinky cluster palm keys are very nice. It has a little slight raised part on the end of the B flat, and it has this alternating mechanism between the B flat and C sharp. Feels comfortable, and you don't feel like you're stretching to get down to them low notes. The left hand palm keys also feel very nice. Now, just next to them things is my little friend. It likes to have what you call a manic wiggle. Just like this. Go on, son! Look at that wiggliness. That's absolutely insane. It just does not know when to stop. So the original neck that you get with the Custom EX is this G3. And of course, I'm going to be trying it with this silver-plated G1 as well. So I'm going to do maybe a little bit of a blindfold test back and forth between the two necks and see if you can guess which one's which and see which one you prefer for sound. So I have tried both of these necks and there is a difference between the two. Now see if you can spot that difference or hear any differences, or maybe they just sound the same. I'm not going to do any jam time, I'm just going to do a noodle up and down on both necks to see if you lot can hear the difference. And I'll speak to you lot after the blindfold thing. So there you go, what do you think? My final thoughts will come soon, but your thoughts need to go right in that comment section down there. Let's have a little chin wag, let's have a little natter, me, you, let's interact, let's see if we can come up with some nice, interesting saxophone geek stuff. First of all, on the saxophone itself, it's actually a very, very nice model. First of all, for the ergonomics, the feel under the fingers, I don't care what anybody else says. To me, Yamaha probably have the best feel under the fingers out of all saxophone brands, and I'm quite sure people will dispute that because they all have their own personal taste. We all have our own different biology. Some people have smaller hands. I've got like these big bare hands. So this Yamaha feels absolutely fine to me. For the record, I've been playing Yamaha saxophones for about 35 years, so I'm very used to them. So they feel like a nice comfortable pair of slippers, and I like that feel. They feel so familiar. But for new players, if you try a Yamaha, you'll also find that they feel very comfortable. Idiot head here almost forgot to do the results. So the results of the blindfold test when it come to the neck shootout. Neck number 1 was the original neck, which is the G3. So that means neck number 2, of course, was this nice silvery piece of joy. So the sound of this also is slightly different to, say, when I had my Custom Z. I think the Custom Z was slightly brighter. This one feels a little bit fatter and a little bit fuller in sound, but it does still maintain a nice zing to the tone, if you know what I mean. It has a nice bite to the sound if you're looking for that sort of thing. But I'm quite sure if you have a darker sort of concept of sound in your head, this thing will deliver on that as well, because it does have that spread of the core all the way through the instrument. So it sort of ticks the boxes for the brighter and the darker sounding players. So overall, my thoughts are I like the Custom EX. But there's a but. The but being the neck. This one does a great job. There's nothing wrong with this neck. The silver one was my preference. Is it because of how it looks? Maybe some factors of that as well. I don't know. I just think it has a bit more sparkle to the sound. And the other thing I noticed between the two necks is that the silver one had slightly more projection. It was a bit louder, in other words. The G3 is a good neck. And yes, I could happily play that all day, every day, and twice on a Sunday, until this little fella came along. And then it's a totally different ball game. So the Custom EX tenor with the silver plated G1 neck, saxophone bling, and it sounds and feels great to play. So that was the results of the test. Did you guess right? Did you guess wrong? Do you not give a damn? Who cares? It's just for fun anyway. But maybe you hear something in the sound and you think to yourself, aha, I like that neck. Or maybe you like the other one. Who knows? It doesn't matter anyway. It's all subjective and it's not a competition. So anyway, thanks very much for coming this far. And I tell you what is a competition. See how many clicks and likes and how many subscribers I can get. I'm trying to build my channel, so that means I need you lot, who I'm wiggling my stupid finger at, to do me a favour. Click on the like. Click on subscribe, because there's loads of people watching my channel who are not subscribed. Do me a favour, just click on subscribe. I'm asking nicely, but I can ask horrible if you want. Maybe that'll work. So thanks yet again, and you will catch me in the next video. Have an absolutely average day. Time to go and drink my tea.